Welcome guys, I'm HOJ, and in today's video we'll be doing 5 best of 1 standard ranked ladder matches. With today's deck we'll be working with Boros Mobilize. So before we jump into the video, there will be a link in the description for the full playlist, also for the deck list on moxfield.com, and all of the win rate statistics on untapped.gg. In addition, there'll be all of my other playlists, including all of my best of 1 standard events, and all my other decks as well. And then in addition, there's a link to my other channel where I'm a sci-fi fantasy writer, and there's also a link if you'd like to subscribe to this channel, and if you'd like to see more of this type of video. So let's go ahead and jump in. So just recently hit Diamond 1, really excited about trying to hit break into Mythic, and I've had to do a lot of different changes with this deck. Most recently, I decided to cut Warleader's Call, which is a fantastic card, but it doesn't have a creature stapled to it. So there are situations where you can just play it and just kind of not affect the board, especially if you've been, recently board wiped, and it just doesn't quite get there. It's a fantastic card, especially what this deck wants to do. But what I kind of opted for was having full access to the full playset of both Neighborhood Guardian and Shocking Sharpshooter, which together creates the same effect as Warleader's Call, but they are stapled onto bodies, which really helps. And then in addition, more recently just added back in 2 copies of Sheltered by Ghosts. So I want to give a big thank you to you guys in the comments who sort of brought up the idea of getting Sheltered by Ghosts attached to like a Shocking Sharpshooter, and then gaining life whenever we ping our opponent for playing creatures or having creatures enter with Mobilize. It's also good with Neighborhood Guardian, because if we have a creature with Sheltered by Ghosts, and we can use all the triggers for the Guardian to increase the power of that creature and then gain some more life. The other thing is I have 3 copies now of Kutzil's Flanker, as a concession to graveyard decks, and also it helps with a little bit of life gain against mono red or Boros, and 3 copies of Requisition Raid, which has been absolutely just amazing. This is kind of sort of like a pseudo replacement for Warleader's Call, because it is cheaper, and there are multiple situations where you can do all 3 modes, which is just amazing. Like especially against like Jeskai artifacts, you can typically get an artifact that frees your team with like Starcage or Pinnacle Starcage. You can use it to blow up their Authority of the Consuls, which all of the control decks are running, and then also pump your team. So I've been really, really happy with this. The addition of the Hinterland Sanctifiers and a singleton of Zora Fancier is just to kind of give us some more early game and really help us stay in the game long enough to kind of get our thing going. But yeah, those are the changes. The mana base, I think, has changed a little bit. I decided to take out the multiversal passage, or the multiversal, whatever it's called, and replace it with sort of a full playset of Sunbillow Verge, some basic mountains, a full playset of Starting Town, just to make us take a little bit less pain from the land. We do have access to 16 sources of both red and white on turn 1, and then we have 3 Dalkovan Encampments, so access to potentially 19 sources of white by turn 2, and somewhere between 16 and 20 sources of red if we can get the Sunbillow Verge working for red also. So yeah, those are the changes, that's the updates. Let's go ahead and jump in to some matches and see if we can break into Mythic. Okay, opening hand looks great. While we don't have a 1-drop, we have quite a few 2-drops, stuff to do. And we have both colors of mana, so happy about that. Let's just go with Voice of Victory here, because if we play this, they won't be able to respond and kill it on our end of turn. Now they have to kill it main phase if they want to deal with it. So we kind of wasting a little bit of their mana there, which is always great. Now let's lead into Sanguine Evangelist to get a little bit of sticking power, and then next turn we can kind of set up with either double Guardian or Guardian plus Voice of Victory. Okay, so it looks like black-white tokens. I think let's go for Voice plus Guardian. The other possibility is they could potentially have like a full board wipe on like Day of Judgment on turn 4, which is something to be cognizant of. So we could also just use like Dalkovan Encampment here just to push some damage and not commit too much to the board. We could also like half commit or just kind of go full out. Maybe we just Dalkovan Encampment here. It might be a little bit weak, but I think it's actually kind of a nice push without committing too much. And we know there's a good chance they do run something like Day of Judgment. So we're still presenting a fair amount of damage this way. And if they do Day of Judgment, we still will have a bat left behind where we can use Dalkovan Encampment. So that's a nice pickup. All right, 1 and 0. All right, opening hand looks great. We've got both colors of mana, some nice 2-drops, happy to keep. Okay, Orzhov life gain. Frontline Rush could be pretty good here. Neighborhood Guardian will help. Okay, looks like this is the version with the what's the name of the bat that makes us lose life whenever they gain life? I think that they're probably running that as well. It's a little bit of a slower setup, but it is a pretty nasty deck. Let's go for, what do we want to do here? I think we just go for Voice of Victory so we can get the Mobilize triggers to help kind of push us through. And then next turn we can go into like Stadium Headliner plus Neighborhood Guardian. Yeah, Aerith is pretty good. So we could go Stadium Headliner and then attack and try to surprise him with Frontline Rush. And they don't have any legendary creatures to move this onto, so we could do that. We could also go for like Neighborhood Guardian. We'll get 2 triggers, 3 triggers. That should be enough to protect the voice, but we won't be able to like get him. But we will be building up a nice board. We could also go for like Sanguine Evangelist here. That won't make it enough to push this through, and they will be gaining some life. So, I think I'm kind of tempted to go for the Frontline Rush play, since we do get kind of a nice, if we can catch him, we'll be able to give a nice pump here. Can also just use Stadium Headliner to just kill it, and I kind of like that too. Maybe we just do that. All right. Now we could go for Sanguine Evangelist. We could do kind of the same potential play with Frontline Rush. I mean, they could like triple block on our Voice of Victory if we don't put out Neighborhood Guardian. So maybe we just go for Guardian here instead, and then we can push this through for a little bit of damage. I like getting Evangelist going. We could also just like play Evangelist and not attack. I don't know if that's right. I guess maybe we probably attack and then play Evangelist afterwards. That's probably the best way to do it. Could also attack with Hinterland Sanctifier and see if they want to. They probably just double block here. But we might be able to finesse a point of damage. I guess if we don't care if we lose the Sanctifier, we can attack with it. I think I'm just going to do Voice of Victory here, as it's a little bit less predictable what I can do with it. Yeah, they're just going to let it through. Okay. So we might have been able to finesse like one extra point of damage there. Yeah, they're starting to get a lot of bats here, which is kind of rough. All right, fourth land is really nice for us. Now I think we probably go for Guardian and then into Frontline Rush, potentially. We could also do another turn of setup. That's a little bit dangerous with what they've got going on here. I think we push. Question is where we want our counters to go. I think we want at least one counter on the Evangelist, just so they make it a little bit harder to kill it. Maybe even two counters on the Evangelist, just so they can't block it like with a single bat. The nice thing here too is depending how they block, we can play this either as 2 red goblins or as +X/+X. So we're able to give it +7/+7. We're not doing quite enough damage to get them close, although it is certainly a big hit. But I think we want to take out this channeler, so I think we just do the +7/+7 there. Now they can put on the Enduring Innocence, which I assume is what they do. Okay, that was a little odd. Yeah, and there's the Starscape Cleric that I was thinking about. So now they can use Case, unfortunately. Yeah, it's a nice combo. I was thinking of updating my own version of the Orzhov deck to try this out. Very, very powerful deck. So yeah, unfortunately they're back to 22. We're at 3. It's probably going to do it, but yeah, very cool deck. Unfortunately, they were able to get off the Starscape Cleric in time. Yeah, and I don't think there's any way out here because they can just do something similar next turn. We can't push quite enough to get there. All right, so unfortunately, 1 and 1. I do think that's a powerful version of that deck. Okay, opening hand looks good. We've got access to both colors of mana. We have at least 2 land. Here we could go for Frontline Rush, end of turn, or Neighborhood Guardian. I think I'm going to go for the Guardian. It is possible that they just play a 1-drop and shock it again, but because they don't have like the mana up right now, it might be a little bit more annoying than if they might want to play something like a 2/2. So I think I'm just going to run out the Guardian. So they've like, ooh, Scalding Viper, okay. This must be like the Is It version of this deck. We are definitely going to take a little bit of pain here. Okay, double Viper. Wow. So we're going to take 2 more points. We could wait for the Frontline Rush. I think I'm just going to do another Evangelist, though. Just it's a nice use of mana. And I guess let's just put it on the Guardian, because the Guardian's kind of doing a lot for us right now. We could put another point here on the Bat, since they could just double block this anyways. So I think let's maybe put this other point on the Bat. And now we can just Frontline Rush for the win. All right, 2 and 1. Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what kind of decks come out of the ban. All right, opening hand looks good. We've got all the mana we need. Okay, looks like a Boros aggro deck. We are taking a little bit of pain here, but we've got Sanctifier to help a little bit. And Manifold Mouse is quite nasty. Now let's set up with Voice of Victory. We could attack here, because I don't think we want to block so much. I suppose if we have to block, if they do something totally crazy. But I think if we attack, they certainly won't block. So maybe we just finesse a point of damage here. And they do have the Sheltered by Ghosts. Yuck. It's pretty gross. So now I think we just go for Kutzil's Flanker, try to stabilize. Oh, that's terrifying. I'm not sure we even survived this, right? Because we just go to 7. Yeah, those are nice, but they're probably not enough. Okay, so if we block here, and then if we block here, we're taking 2, 4, 6, 8. So not enough. However, this thing doesn't have double strike, so we can throw this in front over here. And now we're just taking 2, 4, 6, and we don't quite die. But now they can just, I think, just get us with double strike, double strike. Then we only have 3 blockers. I guess if they see it, we always play it out, but if they see it. Yeah, they had a nice mouse draw there. And that's going to do it. Oh, wow. All right. So unfortunately, we are now 2-2. Very quick draw with the mice. I think it's another reason why Requisition Raid is so good right now, because it just deals with pesky artifacts and enchantments like Sheltered by Ghosts and things like that. On the play, hand looks great. We've got all of our mana that we need, and we have stuff to do. All right, plan is to lead out with Voice of Victory on 2. Okay, plan might change. I think we just Frontline Rush to block Tiny Bones here, just so we don't have to. Because if we play like Voice of Victory and they kill it, then they just get it back. It just seems pretty bad. So I think we just go for Frontline Rush here. We can double block here in case they have like instant speed removal, so we make sure we get him. Since he only has 1 point of damage. And now we can set up with Voice. I don't know that I've ever seen a Voice of Victory actually survive a turn after playing it. They usually just main phase kill it. Maybe one time? I guess, yeah, there we go. Okay, so here we can either set up with Evangelist or just Sharpshooter plus Voice and just do a double setup turn. I kind of like that more. It's a little bit better use of our mana. And that kind of, we can then like set up into like a Requisition Raid. And then here, I think if they attack, since they don't have like the triple black needed to play the 2/4 or whatever it's called, I think we just take the damage. We have enough, I think we have like 10 different cards in our deck that gain life. So I think we can just soak the damage here, hopefully. This is kind of nice. So now we can use Requisition Raid to pump our team and get the Annex. Kind of curious if they're going to attack here. Oh my god, they're going for it. Yeah, I think we're definitely going to let them have it. I don't think we just lose if we do. Although I suppose we might have to keep one guy back next turn in case they're able to like play the. I think we just take it here. All right, so now we can Requisition Raid and get the Annex. If we just Requisition Raid our team instead and then play Evangelist, that might actually be better, even though they can, you know, turn this into a demon or whatever. That actually, I think that's a little better, just having the extra guys and the extra burn. I think we just ignore this Annex. And now we're pushing for 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 6. Oh yeah, they're just dead. That'll work. All right, 3 and 2. So we moved ahead a little bit, not quite to Mythic, but we're inching closer. I think there's a lot of really cool decks out there right now. I definitely am curious to see kind of how that Orzhov Life Gain deck plays out with the Starscape Clerics. But let's take a look at the stats of this deck. And I really do like the addition of the Requisition Raids. I might even go up to 4. They've just been so back-breakingly amazing. It's kind of like everything I wanted from Warleader's Call, except cheaper, or sometimes cheaper. I think the Sheltered by Ghosts might be a necessity just because the life swings can just be absolutely crazy, and having access to like more life swing could be pretty good. Especially like if we had something like that against that mouse deck, that would have really helped a lot. But and also just giving us some form of removal, because I think with this we only have 6 pieces of removal between the Stadium Headliners and the Sheltered by Ghosts, and then like Frontline Rush is sort of like pseudo removal, depending on if they block. But let's take a look at the stats. All right, this deck has somewhat of a long history. Overall, the current win rate is 53%, 62% win rate on the play, and 46% on the draw. So it is considerably better on the play. 144 wins and 127 losses. There have been 74 separate versions of this deck, so we've really changed it a lot over time. More recently here, it just went 60% win rate, 100% on the play, 33% on the draw. So again, being on the play is a huge game. And yeah, I think another, like just a more recent change here, this is a similar build of it, maybe a couple other changes, but 100% win rate 4-0. So this was just last night. I really like how the deck is handling right now, and I think it is very capable of hitting Mythic. So if you haven't tried it, consider trying it, and we will see you guys in the next one.